Hello and welcome to a Victory Monday here on the Jet Report. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary, going to be hanging out with you for the next little bit here on, again, Victory Monday. We have things to be excited about. We're having fun. We're having a good time over here as fans of the New York Jets. Before we get started today, I just want to mention you could follow on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. You could also become a member of the channel to support. Send in super chats that jump the line. And without further ado, we're going to get into today's episode. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm pumped up to get into today's episode where we are going to be getting into the playoff picture. So let's do that. Let's pull it up. Here's a look at the playoff picture right now with the Jets win and the Patriots loss. The Jets are up to the number 7 seed. The Patriots fall down to the 8. The Chargers came back and won against the Cardinals, a real annoying one, but it's something that happens, something we have to deal with. So the Chargers are 6-5, as are the Patriots. The Colts 4-6-1 are kind of low down. So you don't necessarily have to worry about them right now. We'll see if that changes coming up. But as it currently stands, Bills as the 5, Bengals as the 6, and their win over the Titans would have been nice to get some help from the Tennessee Titans. Unfortunately, that does not happen. And then the New York Jets take care of business at home against a pretty rough Bengals team. A pretty rough Bears team, a beat up Bears team. I saw the Bengals right above here and did a little reading instead of talking. That's my bad. But what you might wonder is, okay, so now the Jets are back in the playoff picture. What does that mean, or what do we have to root for this upcoming week? Because I know, like, it's a Victory Monday. We're going to get into it. We'll go through your comments, what we liked from this past game. Not a whole lot to dislike at all. I guess early on the defense didn't really show, but they really clamped down after a slow start. So not, a ton to complain about. But let's take a look at the matchups here, starting with Thursday Night Football. As much as it sucks to root for the Buffalo Bills, I think you got it because, yes, I guess technically the division is still up for grabs, but the Patriots have the tiebreaker over the Jets because they beat them twice head to head. So if the Jets and Pats finish with the same record, the Pats would go in front of the New York Jets. So I think what you need to root for is the Bills to take care of business, knock the Pats down to 6 losses, and the Pats have a tough schedule after that. I don't know, will it is no, it's just going to give me the box score. I was going to say, will it give me the rest of the schedule? It doesn't. But with the Patriots schedule, they still have Miami again. I think they have the Bills twice, to be honest with you. And there's some other tough games. They have the Bengals somewhere mixed in there as well. So on Thursday night, I think you're rooting for Buffalo to take care of business, knock the Pats to 6-6. You also have the Broncos and the Ravens. I guess there you could always root for the Broncos to pull an upset. Don't think it's happening, but who knows? The Jets have to take care of business against the Vikings, which is a winnable game, but a tough game nonetheless, because Minnesota is 9-2. Yes, their defense isn't really a ton to write home about. And sure, the Jets defense can hang with anybody in the NFL, but we can't just gloss over the Minnesota Vikings at 9-2. Can the Jets win that game? Absolutely. I'm not saying they can't, but that's a tough game. So got to take care of business there. Then you have the Bengals and the Chiefs. So we got to root for the Chiefs to beat the Bengals, knock them to a 5 loss, 7-5, and hopefully the Jets are sitting at 8-4. And then you'd have to hope for the Chargers potentially losing to the Raiders, who the Raiders just came off a upset win of their own over the Seattle Seahawks. But looking at the playoff picture right now, the Jets are sitting in the 7th spot. And your rooting guide for next week is you are a fan of the Raiders, you are a fan of the Chiefs, you are a fan of the Jets for obvious reasons. And you have to, I think, anyway, root against the Patriots. Just because I think that's the easiest path to the playoffs, I think is your most likely path. So you got to root for the Bills to take care of business. But there we go. Jets Victory Monday. Let's hop into it. We'll get to your comments and questions. We have a super chat to get us started. Thank you so much. Denon says, I know it's early, but Mike White is a UFA at the end of the year. If he keeps playing like this, do you see the Jets keeping him and trading Wilson? It's certainly a possibility, right? Obviously, a lot is going to be contingent on how he plays the rest of the way. You have to be extremely thrilled with what you saw. And sorry, someone said the 49ers as well over the Dolphins. How could I forget that one? That's my bad. Yes. Thank you guys for shouting it out. You're 100% correct. The 49ers over the Miami Dolphins as well. How could I forget? How could I not mention the 49ers as well? But um, yeah, I mean, it's certainly on the table right now. They're going to continue to ride him until it stops working. And if he plays like he did yesterday, I don't know how you make the switch back. Again, it's kind of dependent on what happens here, but I don't know how you're potentially moving back to Zach after the performance that we kind of just saw there. So VR says here is what we can discern for Vikings this upcoming week. Mike LaFleur knows and can game plan for the defense. Same with Ulbrich and the defense against the Vikings offense. Yeah, you know what? I am impressed so far with what we saw from both LaFleur and Ulbrich this past week. I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on as the season continues to go. Um, you really can't say too many negative things about either coordinator this past week. Yes, I think you could maybe get on LaFleur, not LaFleur per se. I guess more so Ulbrich for his unit coming out a little bit on the slower side, but it ended up being fine as they would begin to clamp it down at that point. But there you go. That's a big one. Mac threw for over 380 on the Vikings. No, Mike can definitely put up those numbers. Let's see what Mac Jones did against that defense this past week. Obviously, we got to see them on Thanksgiving. It was a good back and forth game, but the strength of that team is certainly not. 382 and 2 touchdowns, 71.7 completion percentage. Hopefully, it's something that we could see continue for Mike White, who played a really good game against the Bears team. And yeah, the Bears are beat up and their pass defense isn't any good, but it doesn't matter. It's incredible what he did. He was getting the ball out of his hands quickly, and there you go. John Finnegan's a member of the channel. Thank you, John, for the chat. Says flip the result of the Ravens Bengals with the Browns Steelers, and we would be feeling way better. Not to take anything away from us, but who you beat matters. Yeah, that's 100% true. John is right here. And like John, if you want to be a member of the channel, you could let me know down below in the description or in the comments, rather. Imagine if the Jets make the playoffs and the Patriots miss it after sweeping us. It's certainly on the table, V-Man. They are a game back and have a very tough game on Tuesday. Sauce versus Jefferson is going to be a matchup to watch. I think it's going to be a fun one. There's going to be a battle back and forth, obviously, kind of like what we just saw when they went against Diggs, but they held out pretty well. Cole Caulfield. We're not talking hockey right now. Victory Monday. We could save the hockey talk for another time. I still don't understand why we had Flacco in for the first 3 games instead of White. White wasn't great in the preseason, and it seems like they really liked what Joe Flacco did for this team last year. Obviously, they saw something in practice, I think anyway, to make them make the move to elevate Mike White up to QB2 as of a couple weeks ago, but JK says, I've always leaded more in favor for Zach than most Jet fans, but the way White made some of the throws, those easy and difficult throws, and how much more open the playbook seemed, I'm leaning towards White now. Yeah, you have to continue to play Mike White until things start to look poorly. I don't think that's going to be the case if he continues to do what he did yesterday. He got the ball out of his hands quick. He had like the 4th fastest release time in the NFL this past week. He was extremely effective. So keep it rolling. Do you think Jeff Ulbrich will be a head coach next year? No, I don't think so. He might get interviewed, but I'd be very surprised if he leaves, becomes a head coach. Adonis, good point here, says we finally have a kicker, no more scrubs. We got Legatron hitting 57 yarders in the rain and the wind. Tom Brady won 3 rings off his kicker's leg. The defense will keep us close with anyone. That's kicking matters. We've been saying it for a long time. The Jets have had major issues at the kicking position, excuse me, for the last few years, and it feels like they finally have that figured out, which is a must. Yo, it's Vin. Good point here, man. Says boys and girls vote Mike White for the FedEx Air Player of the Week. Absolutely, we know Jet fans show out. I would imagine that Garrett Wilson's going to win Rookie of the Week, but you got to get out there and vote, and Mike White should be as well. Josh says, interested to hear your thoughts on James Robinson. I like the production from Bam, but why is Robinson inactive? Supposedly they wanted more of Bam's punch that he has in his running style. Robinson's struggled a little bit so far since becoming a member of the New York Jets. You could pull up his numbers here in a second, but he's also been a little bit banged up. I liked what we saw from our guy Bam Knight in the preseason. But since becoming, a member of the Jets, 5 carries for 17, 13 for 48, 7 for 10, really, really struggled against New England. And who knows, maybe that injury is still lagging a little bit or nagging him a little bit. And that's why they decided to make the switch, Haroon. But I can't necessarily fault them for it. Again, I was surprised by it, but they took a late round flyer on James Robinson. Who knows, maybe he gets another shot. But even if it doesn't work and you go to Bam, it just shows you have the good depth. So. Better Mojo by Mike White or Zach Wilson. I think right now, Mike White, for sure. His price point is still on the lower end. And if he continues to start, which I think he will, and continues to play well, it's going to continue to go up. If you aren't a member of the channel, you have more L's than Gase. I love it. Ronnie from New Jersey said, Mr. White was seeing the field so well. Makes me think if Zach got the hook at halftime against New England, White might have sparked us to the win. Johnny Ice Cream was so happy. Good to hear it. I saw the videos of Johnny Ice Cream enjoying his Cold Stone. Absolutely love it. Awesome, awesome W. Things you love to see. Is Connor McGovern good? I think he's solid. I don't think he's a star, but I don't think he's awful either. I think he's fine. Liam says it's Mike White's job to lose. I tend to agree with that. I think it is Mike White's job to lose. If he continues to play like he did this past week, he's going to be the starting quarterback the remainder of the way. If he struggles, then maybe they go back to Zach Wilson. But you got to like what you saw on Sunday. Tony, thank you so much for the super chat. People keep saying how White will regress in performance like last year, but with the weapons we have now, I think he will keep balling out. Our defense will help. That's true. Obviously, what he was working with last year is not anywhere close to the talent that he has now. Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson both had really nice days as members of the New York Jets in this massive win over the Chicago Bears, 31-10. Impressive. But yeah, we pull it up. Some of the box score numbers here for the Jets. Receiving yards, you had, it's not going to let me sort. But you had 95 for Garrett Wilson, 2 touchdowns. Elijah Moore, 64 and a touchdown. Conklin had 50 receiving yards. Zonovan Knight had 34 receiving yards to go along with 69 rushing yards. And Ty Johnson had a couple of big plays on the ground too. So I love it. Sneakers to Boots says, I don't understand how some fans are mad that we won with Mike White because it wasn't Zach. Get out of here with that crap. We Jets fans first, not making sure our opinions are right. Amen. I was happy with White's performance. I was of the camp of giving Zach chances this year as a second-year player, but with what Mike White was able to do for this team, you got to love it. And I was thrilled that he came in. Once he came in, I was like, all right, hope he does what he does well last year, which is get the ball out of his hands quickly, make good reads, have good footwork. And he did all those things. And most importantly, not turn the ball over, which was an issue for him last year, but he was good at that. Garrett says, let's not forget Mike White is more polished this year. He's been sitting and learning the playbook. Good point. Whether Mike White does good or not, they might sign a veteran more than likely and try to win a Super Bowl with this defense next year. Thoughts? Yeah, I think they will more than likely bring in a veteran to compete for the starting job. I know Lamar Jackson's a very popular name. I just don't see how that happens. But Derek Carr, Jimmy G, Gardner Minshew are all going to be popular names, and I think all have a good chance to come in and potentially start for this team next year. Yo, it's Vince says Zach has more talent and a higher ceiling than Mike White, but Zach's head isn't in the right place. Mike White will definitely get us the best chance to win right now, and we are speaking playoffs. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think it's pretty clear that Zach needed this reset, and who knows, maybe he gets another chance. But um, with what Mike White did, if you get more performances like that, they're going to win a lot of football games. Jets Unleashed said Jimmy versus Mike White. That's certainly possible. I don't know. Jonathan asked, why can't the Jets defense recover fumbles? I wish I knew. It's actually staggering the amount or the lack of fumble recoveries for this Jets defense. I want to see. Somebody had the numbers, but I want to see if I can find it. Here we go. Of course, Michael Nania. Jets enter this game ranked 28th in fumble recovery percentage at 37.5, and they will go down after missing another one today. A lot of this is just luck, but it really feels like the Jets are missing some fumbles they should have, an area which they can improve on for sure. Yeah, it feels like they very much so. It can't fall on the ball for some reason. Justin C, what's up, man? Says Mike White. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Everyone back in the win column feels good. Yes, sir. It does. I just saw your reaction video, by the way. Make sure to follow Justin on the. I got him on Twitter and TikTok. He does a lot of great stuff over there. His reactions are one of a kind. Bob says, I see Mike White as a quarterback very similar to Chad Pennington. That is a very good quarterback that will take you to the playoffs, but does not possess the upside to win a Super Bowl. I'm happy about the win, but can we stop guessing up Mike White? Okay, so back to back, kind of more on the negative side comments of Mike White. And look, I don't think I would classify myself as the biggest Mike White fan of Jet fans, but I don't think it's fair to discredit his play from this past week. He was really good, and there's going to be some tests against some better defenses coming up, but he played a good brand of football and they won the game. Let's just continue to ride it until it stops working. I think that's the best way to look at this. Is there a historical stat for fumbles from my, from my many painful memories? It seems like it's been that way for years. It does feel like it's been that way for a long time. I don't even know how I would go about finding that one, but you may have a point there. John is so scared of Justin Jefferson. He's he's the best wide receiver in football. He's insane. He's insane. Sauce and DJ Reed are going to have their work cut out for him. Green Roman, thanks so much for the super chat. Mike White close to Jimmy G style. What our system needs? Question mark. Yeah, I think, I said it in my reaction video yesterday and just my thoughts earlier this morning on why it was so impressive to see what Mike White did. It's just because of how decisive he was with the ball and how confident he was throwing the football. And that's what Zach Wilson was lacking. I think he was lacking confidence. His footwork and mechanics went to crap, and the Jets made a change. And based on performance yesterday, probably deservedly so, it's it's very Jimmy G like because he's going to manage the game, takes what the defense gives him. And it was exactly what happened with White. And guess what? Good things happen when the ball gets in your playmaker's hands. Agreed. Finally saw the offense look the way it should. Lots of guys getting the ball. We moved it at will. They did. They moved it right up and down the field. You can't deny that. Good point. It's more impressive the throws in bad weather. That's a very, very good point. It was raining all over the place. Brian Bogan's a member of the channel. Thank you so much for supporting. Oreo says, any shot we see Wilson this year? Sal made the point that he wants him back on the field, unless things go poorly. I think in their eyes, like they don't want to, say that they're out on Zach Wilson, and I don't necessarily think they are out, but he needed to sit down. And if Mike, it's really dependent on how White plays. If he continues to play well, he'll start, and if they continue to win games, he'll start. If they lose a couple, and if he's playing poorly, then maybe they go back and make a switch. But for right now, I don't know how you could possibly make a switch. You can become a member by hitting the join button. Hang on, I'll post it in the comment, the pin as a pinned comment. Please give me 1 second. You guys are the best. I appreciate the support here. Where is this join button? Is it going to share it? No, it's not going to share it now. This is such a pain in the butt. I'll post it up in the chat after. I should do it first before going live. That would probably make the most sense. Are we wearing all white for Mike White? That would make a lot of sense, right? Oh, yo, it's Vin figured it out. Thank you. Sorry. I trying to do it while also being live. I was going to post the link in here. It's hard to do. It's hard to find on mobile, but on desktop, it's very easy to find. Thank you guys. Really means a lot to support. Mike Brown says Jets guys make the best content on YouTube, hands down. Yeah, we are beyond blessed with the coverage that the Jets get on YouTube from all over the place. I mean, you guys know the drill. The Jake Asman, Jets media, Green Bean, Ryan, Buffalo Jet. There's Jets chaos. There's so many guys who do such good work. The Turn on the Jets guys, Badlands, Jets X Factor. The list goes on and on and on. It's really good stuff. We need to go 11-6 to assure it. 10-7 might not get us in. Yeah, isn't that wild that 10-7 might not be enough? Hell, 11-6 might not be enough, man. The Patriots are right there. The Chargers could get hot. You don't know, man. The AFC East, all four teams are fighting for a playoff spot right now. In the AFC North, you have the Ravens and the Bengals. And then in the West, obviously the Chiefs look like they're going to run away with that, but the Chargers are hanging around. It's going to be tough. Drew says, got to see if Mike White can beat better teams. Yeah, the next couple weeks are going to be a big test. I've mentioned a few times here that the Vikings, their defense isn't great. That's not their strong suit. Their strong suit is what they can do on offense. But Vikings are a really good football team. That's going to be a good test for him. And then obviously Buffalo, because he struggled against Buffalo last year. Now the weapons weren't there, and this year is totally different. So maybe that makes a bit of a difference. But that's a big test. The next couple weeks are really, really big. Oh, don't do this. Kay says Zach goes to the Hall of Fame as a 49er. Oh, that would hurt. That would hurt too much. I don't like that. Yo, it's Vin. Good point. Says even the Jets social team makes the best social media content. That's a fact. We are beyond lucky. The Flight 2022, the One Jets Drive, they really do good stuff. Oreo says, who are we rooting for this Thursday? Bills or Pats? I know the Finns are in first place. They have a tough next 4 games. They could easily go 0-4 or 1-3 over the next couple. I think I think the Bills, because the issue with New England is that if you finish with the same record that they do, they're going to have the tiebreaker here. So I think you have to root for the Bills and hope that the 49ers take care of business. Let's look at the Dolphins schedule because I know they have the 49ers this week, but I don't remember what the rest of their games look like. Okay, so let's pull this up. They have, I'm going to minimize your comments just so you can see the whole thing. They have the 49ers, the Chargers, the Dolphins against the Bills, the Packers, the Patriots, and the Jets are their remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. You're going to need the 49ers, going to need the Packers, obviously, because those are the two NFC teams. But Chargers and Dolphins is tough. Hopefully, the Chargers lose to Kansas City, and then you could root for the Chargers to beat the Dolphins. This one's tough, but I think you got to root for the Bills. It's no fun, man. It's no, well, it is actually, I'll take that back. It's stressful, but it's a good kind of stress because I'll take this over doing all that draft prep that we usually do. Really need Miami to lose about 1 to 2 more at least. Yeah, they've just been unbelievable. I think they got to drop a few. 49ers would be nice if they got them. Packers would be nice if they got them on Christmas, but we'll have to see, man. Jets got to take care of business too. What's up, Matt? Fundamentally, quarterback, we needed that. Beating the team we were supposed to beat, playoff speaking. Let's control our own destiny by winning. Let's go and win this one against the Vikings. They absolutely can beat the Vikings. There's no reason that the Jets can't beat the Minnesota Vikings this week. It's going to be a really tough. It's going to be a really tough game, but again, it's not something that you just say, oh well, that's a 2-loss team. They're going to go out and get smoked. They're not. They're 3-point underdogs to start things out. Stop worrying about the Pats. Jets will go 5-1 or 4-2. I hope you're right, but you got to root for help too. You have a tall task of needing to beat Buffalo and Miami, puts us at 4-2 in the division. Yeah, it'd be nice to get over 500 in the division. Obviously, Buffalo is going to be insanely motivated after they were upset the first time. Kind of the same thing with Miami too. Can the Jets win those games? Yeah, they proved that they could do it already, but it's not going to be easy. That pro day throw seems like a decade ago. It's been a long time. Feels that way. Can you stop doing reverses with anyone but Barrios? I love Garrett, but nothing good ever happens when he does them. Yeah, I don't like him getting the ball on an end around. I don't think it really makes a whole lot of sense. If you want to throw him a screen, I can get behind that for some design touches, but I don't like him on the end arounds. I agree with you there. Brian says Miami might be resting starters in week 18. Could. They could. Who knows? I like this stat. Jets 8-3 all time versus the Vikings. They lost to them the last time these two teams played in 2018. And that's the only time I remember them. Oh, no. In 2014, I believe they lost to them also. But before that, they beat them in 2010. I think they beat them in 2006 as well. Mr. Mr. Green Jean says when Chicago switched to cover 2 shell, the Jets started running very well. It was great to see Mike LaFleur make the adjustment. Absolutely. And they were up in the second half of that game too. So they were going to always take their foot off the gas, but the offense was functioning. It was good to see a functioning offense this week. Yeah, it's going to be tough. There's a good question here from Brendan and saying, what's James Robinson's role moving forward with Bam Knight and Ty Johnson? It's going to be tough to take those guys off the field with what we saw on Sunday with both of them. John says 2014 Gino had absolute dot to Percy Harvin. Seems like a lifetime ago. Yeah, that was a game that was played at the College of Minnesota, right? Minnesota University, right? Didn't they end up playing there that year? This is true. Inside weather, not a factor. That's true. We'll see how they do in a dome. Jets don't play in domes very often. Think Greg the leg could have made Tucker's 67-yard miss yesterday? Possibly. I think Tucker's made some pretty long ones in his career too, but I think he would have a good shot. Jets Forever says 16-4 or bust. Run the table, baby. Go out there and win every single game. Why not? The Jets have a good chance to beat the Vikings. Good luck. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's two very good teams. Who one has a really good offense, the other has an incredible defense. We'll see which one has the better of the day. Mike White going to have a good game. Vikings pass defense is mid. Yeah, they are. Let's see if we could do uh defensive rankings here. Oh, is this not going to go in now? Whatever. We'll do it this way. I don't remember the login off the top of my head. Stats. Bang. They are 32nd in passing yards allowed, 16th in touchdowns allowed. Yeah, defense isn't much to write home about, especially pass defense. AR says, I like Carter and Knight, but Ty Johnson, I got to admit, I was wrong about. Didn't know why he made the roster, but he does have a home run ability. He's very good running the football. I just don't trust him as a pass blocker or catching out of the backfield. Jordan says, win out 13-4. Yeah, I've noticed that. It's frustrating. I restarted the computer and the router earlier, but it's unfortunately just going to have to live with it for today and try to get it back cooking tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. You're not a Jets fan if you think we can't beat the Vikings. There we go. It's unfortunate that the Jets may only have one primetime game in a winning season. Do you think Bills versus Jets will be flexed? It should, because isn't the Sunday night game, hang on, in week 14, isn't it the Colts? Here, I want to pull it up. 99% positive here. I'm going to hide your comment. Oh no, even worse. You can't do the Broncos again in prime time, man. Don't, please, for the love of God, don't give us the Broncos in prime time once again. I was mistaken. I don't know why I thought it was the Colts. It's not. It's the Broncos and the Chiefs. Good Lord, please save us. You got to flex it. Good question. It was Athlete Logos who made the neon sign. You see the Cowboys D line did against the Vikings. We're not far behind them. I see a blowout. Plus Knight is the key. His speed. All right. Jay boy, my man, it says, Matt, we're talking about the playoffs, not the draft. What a great year so far. Hell yeah. I'll take that 100 times out of 100. Would not have assumed that this year would come down to Mike White and the defense down the stretch, but that's the NFL, man. Crazy things happen, and just enjoy the ride. Have fun. It hasn't been, Jets haven't had good football in a while. They have 7 wins in their first 11 games this year. Let's enjoy it. Can't believe the Pats have 4 straight primetime games. Good point. Phenom says, happy victory Monday. Matt, any word on Michael Carter? I just tuned in. Not that I've seen. I'm going to check Twitter one more time, but I haven't seen any update on Michael Carter just yet. Yeah, I don't see anything yet. But with Bam Knight and Ty Johnson, how they played yesterday, they might be able to survive if he's banged up a little bit. Hopefully the coin didn't account for White Lightning and we didn't alter fate. Yeah, well, they already did. They already beat the coin. They've got off. They've already did that. It's going to be good. They're going to ride this thing out, baby. Keep it rolling. Brendan says, you think Jefferson is Sauce's toughest matchup to date? Yeah, I think he's the best receiver in football. So absolutely. Diggs is a tough matchup, obviously, and he got him once. I think it's going to be a back and forth battle between these two. What are your thoughts on this week's game coming up, and how are the defense going to stop the Vikings out? Pass rush is the biggest key. You know that you have two good corners, or really three good corners if you want to include Michael Carter the second. So if the pass rush can get home, man. And I think they can. They've proven this defense could hang with anybody. They've shut down very good offenses already this year. I'm excited. Mike tosses dimes. He ain't flipping coins. Steven says Devils, baby. There you go. Hey, my Islanders are heating up. We're coming for you. I think they're 6 points back, something like that. But yeah, Devils off to an incredible start. Sauce versus Jefferson is box office. Amen. Absolutely. It's going to be a fun one between those two guys. Time for a few more. Get in any last minute questions you might have. Is Dalvin Cook the best running back we faced this year? Kind of concerned after the way we tackled the past 2 weeks. Nick Chubb, probably, I would say, but Dalvin is a very good runner. The tackling could potentially be an issue, but I don't know. I like how Quan Alexander plays. I thought he had a really nice game. CJ against the run's been good. I think it'll be all right. Mr. Downtown says, did you see what Damian Woody said about Mike White's pedigree? If he was a first-round pick, he would be getting more support from the front office. I did not see the video. I would have to go and look for it. He's played pretty well in 2 of his 4 starts so far. And like I said earlier in the show, I think they continue to ride it out, and they're playing him now. Not necessarily. Sergeant CVO says, do we expect a shootout game for the Jets this week? No, I don't think so. It might be a little bit back and forth, but I don't think either team gets in the 30s. I think you're looking at a score in the low 20s. Pending the rest of the season and how we do, if we make the playoffs, who's our ideal playoff game against? I would think Tennessee. I think the Jets would have a really good shot against the Tennessee Titans in a playoff game. Hell, I think they could hang with just about anybody, but let's go back to the playoff picture. Maybe we'll close out with that. I think that's a good one. So the Titans are the 3 right now at 7-4. The Ravens are the 4, which means the 5 seed, the Bills, would be playing the Ravens. The Bengals would be playing the Titans, and the Jets would be playing the Dolphins. I think that the Titans is the team that I'd want to play the most, followed by the Ravens in the first round. Brian says Jets could beat Baltimore. I think so. Oh, 34-24 Jets. All right. I've been saying all year, I think we match up well against the Vikings and the Bills. Think Miami would be tough, but we should be competitive in every game. There you go. There's no reason the Jets can't be competitive down the stretch here. I agree with you. Matt B says 34-27 Jets. Viking offense too much to handle. We lose. All right. Mike Wink White learned from his previous mistakes. I hope so. Are we rooting for the Bills or the Pats? I think Bills. I think the Bills are the way to go because of the tiebreaker that the Jets have, or the Jets are lacking rather, against the Patriots. Mikey Blanco. Yo, it's Vince says, I hope the Pats make it into the playoffs and we end up playing them in a later round and crush them. That would be something. Can you imagine that? A matchup in like the divisional round of the conference championship. Daniel asked, have you given up on Zach? Not necessarily, no. I think, I've said it earlier on the show. I think that Mike White's going to continue to play until proven otherwise. I think best case scenario for Zach is that there's a quarterback competition in camp next year. Who knows? Maybe he comes back and plays at some point this year, but I don't think the book is completely closed on Zach Wilson. I understand if you're out on him, but I'm not quite there yet, but rooting for Mike White. Hope he continues to play good football. I think it's very realistic for White to be the starter going into playoffs if he keeps playing that this way. If he did like he did yesterday, a few more times this year, he will be. Jets score 17 points or more, you'll be undefeated. Oh, I like this one from Adam. Give me the tie on Thursday night. Yes. How can we forget about the tie? Got to root for the tie. I love it. I think that's where we'll end off for today. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on this lovely Victory Monday. That's going to do it. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new. I'll talk to you next time.